Hi, this is Subfocus, and you're watching Panda TV. Well, I guess I started in music, listening to a lot of rock music. I remember when I was at school, we all sort of at one point decided that we all wanted to form a band before we could even play instruments. Started to play the bass, and I kind of started to, whilst I was in the band, I started to get much more into dance music. I got some kind of really rudimentary production kit like years and years ago when I was about 13, started making little tunes on that, and around that time, I'd say probably about 94, I started to hear, started to get into dance music, things like Chemical Brothers. I remember hearing Incredible by General Levy when I was about 13. I'd never heard anything like it, and I was really hooked on drum and bass from that point on. The first track that I put out that I was really happy with, I think, was probably Strobe, which is a track that came on one of the Ram Raiders EPs years ago, back in 2004, I think it was. Before that, I was happy with the tracks, but I was always thinking, oh, I can do better than this, and that was a sort of early favourite of mine.
Take me to the
I was asked to remix a track for the Prodigy, which obviously, like, especially at the time, it was just like mind-blowing to be involved with that, man. That's been a big track for me as well. Perhaps, you know, getting some people that might not have known me for my drum and bass stuff. The tracks for this album, I think it all sort of started when I started kind of hearing a lot of, getting into a lot of house and electro and techno stuff. And that started really giving me a lot of new ideas. So things like when I wrote Timewarp, when I wrote Follow the Light, those were sort of first couple of tracks that I wrote for, and it sort of led me in a different direction to what I'd been on before. I talked about this a while ago when Timewarp came out. There was a track called Mouth to Mouth, which is a techno tune by a guy called Audion. That basically had this amazing, it's got amazing rising sound in it, and it just gave me the idea to use like a riser as the hook rather than like have it as just a sound that leads into the main drop. I guess there's loads of different aspects to that tune, like the sort of triplets thing as well, was something that not many people were doing at that point, and it's nice that I've kind of feel like I've sort of brought it back. There's a great tune by Nero called Do You Wanna, which is like, I really like that. That's kind of similar, not a similar vibe, but it's also another triplets thing. So it always feels nice to write stuff that you know influences other people, and that it's good. Rocket, I sort of wrote. I remember I think the first time I played it was at Glastonbury last year, so quite a long time ago. I had a sort of ideas for it, but it took me quite a long time to kind of get the whole thing working together. So I added sort of a lot of sections to it. There were 2 mixes in different keys. I had a different drop on one of them as well. It's kind of easy, especially when you're on your own in the studio, to go a bit nuts, because you're like, nah, that sounds wrong. Like, I almost changed the main riff completely, and that would have been a big mistake. Do you know what I mean? It's just like so easy to get bored and just do something completely to the next one. So other significant tracks from the album, I think Vaporize is one for me. It's another triplet tune. That kind of evolved from actually going to some techno nights called Cocoon in Ibiza one time. I really got inspired by a lot of the sort of sounds I was hearing. Guys like from producers like Dubfire, I don't know if you're familiar with Dubfire, but they use a lot of like white noise, and kind of I wanted to make something that was quite minimal, basically try and get that sort of sound to work in it. The D&B thing, I think that's sort of one of my favourites. Could This Be Real was sort of just a really kind of random tune that I wrote, and I wasn't expecting to kind of include it on the album. It's kind of making me nervous in a way, because it's like so different from what I'm known for, but you know what, I think it's important to take risks, you know, and I just think the amount of people that I was playing it to in my studio, I was kind of like, what do you think of this? And people were just like, the reaction was really overwhelmingly positive, so I was like, actually, you know what, I should do this, and Andy really liked it, you know. I personally like it, man, and I think, you know, it's important to take risks and do, you know, just keep things interesting. Also, I've been playing a lot of house on my set, so obviously there's the 2 sort of electro tunes on there as well. I just feel people are a bit less tribal now about them, what they like music-wise. Like, I remember years ago when I was back at school, like, people would either be, yeah, I'm into drum and bass, I'm into garage, I'm into... But now it's like, people, I don't really feel that people are like so tribal like that. They're like, you know, they might like all sorts of different dance music, and they might, you know, I think that's much more common now, so it's a really good thing. From a personal point of view, it keeps things interesting, because I think, you know, it's easy to get kind of bored of doing the same old beat pattern and the same, you know, working the same tempo the whole time. You want to keep yourself inspired by doing different tempos. I was thinking about it last night. I could do the holiday, man, but no, I'm gonna keep up the studio pressure. I've been working a lot of remixes recently, so I've just done one early in the summer. I did one for a band called Empire of the Sun. I did one for the Prodigy, Take Me to the Hospital, which has come out recently, and just this week my remix of Dead Mouse, Ghost and stuff has just come out. Then we're going to be releasing the next single, which is the track Could This Be Real, with a bunch of remixes. We're working on quite a bit of dubstep stuff lately in the studio, like in terms of new stuff, and you know, I've got a couple of new dancehall bangers, drum and bass stuff. You know, I want to keep it up and sort of get started on the second album when I get the time, man.
Subfocus, the debut album is here. Includes Rockin', Timewarp, Let the Story Begin, and Could This Be Real? Subfocus, out now.